I've been trading sleep for dopamine, stacking wins like sins in a slot machine. I don't trust charts, I trust caffeine, and this voice in my head that says buy the dream. I put my rents on a breakout play, turn 20 bucks into an MBA. Now I'm God in a Discord full of fools, passing off drama as technical rules. Green looks good on me, even if I'm dead inside. I'll be rich and emotionally fried. Green looks good on me, I got bags under my eyes, but my portfolio's high. I'll survive. I talking candlesticks, sleeping ticks. Therapist says I'm addicted to risk, but hey, she charges by the hour while I compound gains like drunken power. My last ex said I was hard to read, so I sent her a chart, S&P. I treat FOMO like foreplay, baby. I make dumb moves look Warren Beatty. Green looks good on me, even if I'm losing friends. At least I got passive income and bands. Green looks good on me, I'll burn out by 33, but I'll YOLO in peace, finally free. Yeah. I'm the king of bad ideas with a Robin Hood crown. I turn therapy into a market rebound. Yeah, I'm charmingly reckless, chaotically blessed with a six-figure ego and zero rest. Green looks good on me, like a noose made of dollar signs, smiling while I cross those lines. Hey. Green looks good on me, call it luck, call it skill. Either way, I'm paying my therapist bills.
Oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and happy Monday. It is a beautiful November the 10th, I want to say, and the market is looking nicely green. I know, my apologies. I left you guys right when the market was starting to look a little suspect, but I'm starting to think that maybe when I'm gone, the market's horrible, and when I'm here, the market's great. Is that the trend that we are dealing with? So my apologies for not being here and commiserating with you, crying with you, singing kumbaya with you as the market was getting hit for 2 days there to conclude the week last week. But fortunately for us, we have a couple things that are all coming together at the same time, and we're seeing a pretty nice recovery. But I do want to let you know we're not necessarily out of the woods. And of course, in this pre-market session, I will be breaking that all down because we're going to be chit-chatting about what's going on with seasonality, what's going on with the government reopening, what's going on with the newly announced stimulus checks, what's going on with monetary policy and specifically the SOFR rate. And also, we got to chit-chat a little bit about earnings because there's one particular ticker, RUM. It's near and dear to my heart. And when I looked at it at one point in pre-market trading, I don't know where it's at this exact second, but at pre-market at one point I saw it was up 30%, obviously because of a very successful earnings call, an announcement, various things to get in there. So hey, while we're here, a little bit of a specialty shout out to what's going on in the Rumble community this morning, because you might want to take a little looky-see at that stock. So that's just a little bit of it. Honestly, it's going to be a bit of a more like a busy market open show. And obviously when the market gets going, we have a lot to be watching, a lot to pay attention to. So I hope you guys are ready for a good one. Folks, I hope you had a great week last week. I hope you caught the first part of the week to the upside, the second part of the week to the downside. I hope you had a phenomenal weekend where you're able to relax, hang out with family and friends. And I hope you're ready for another fun-filled week in here. I'm very, very excited to be back. And it looks like we're going to get some solid action in the world's largest casino today. So let's buckle up, Buttercup. I want to make sure I am on the right one. Let's switch this up. And how are we looking? Stock futures rise as plan to end the shutdown starts moving through Congress. So we're going to be getting to that very quickly. The TLDR, we got the announcement yesterday that on the Senate side of things, they came to an agreement. There was actually a lot of Democrats who crossed the aisle, pushed us across the line. Now it's going to go to the House. And obviously, if it goes from the House, it can then be signed into law by the president. So that's part of the reason why we're up. And yes, I will be getting into that. But I just want to let you know, in terms of seasonality, because we didn't get the update video yesterday, November, December, half of January, very bullish. Right here, you could argue that we're kind of in this portion right here. Granted, last week, which was thought to be the most bullish week of the entire year, did not turn out that way. So, hey, maybe it's just delayed by a little bit. But I do want to let you know from a seasonality standpoint, November is actually the most bullish month of the entire year on the 5-year and also on the 3-year. If this ever loads, we got caught. But yes, it is a bullish month and is also specifically a bullish week. So you could see the week we're heading into right here. Slightly bullish. Last week was even more bullish. Obviously, we didn't see it. Remember, seasonality is not the end all be all, but it does give you an idea of like, all right, what's going on. Now, with respect to potentially the market opening and the major things you should be paying attention to this week, it's a little bit tough. I should let you know that there's nothing major scheduled for today. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. The market is open. The stock, options, futures, crypto, basically all markets are open except for the bond market. So tomorrow, yes, it is Veterans Day. Historically, that has been a break in the market, as in a little bit of a holiday for all of us, but it is only a holiday for the bond market. So I do want to let you know about that. Later on this week, we're going to have a bunch of Fed members talking. And then right here's where it gets interesting, because you know how really since the start of October, I've been telling you all these events are kind of a shoulder shrug of, are we going to get the jobs data? Are we going to get the inflation data? Are we getting initial jobless claims and other things coming from the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics? Generally, we get those. And this time we actually might be getting them. I know it's been about 6 weeks where we haven't, but if the government reopens in time, then we will be getting initial jobless claims, the consumer price index, retail sales on Friday. So I just want to put that all on your radar. All these little stars, the little asterisks there, they actually might be coming to fruition this time around. And it's all because of this. Senate clears key hurdle toward ending government shutdown. Block of Democrats help Republicans advance spending measure, but more steps remain before federal operations can resume. So we're making progress. We are moving forward, but it is not yet a done deal. Senate advances plan to end shutdown after some Democrats agree. And yes, we're going to be listening to what Trump had to say on the matter, but just with respect to odds and whatnot, you can see really over the weekend of how it just dramatically changed. And as of now, according to Polymarket, we will be open by the end of this week. 85% chance that sometime between November 12th and November 15th, once again, 85% chance that the government will be reopening. And fortunately for us, Kohrs also agrees. Basically right here, the odds are somewhere between now and Friday, or the highest odds that the government will be reopening. So once again, not a done deal, but we are getting very, very, very good news. And obviously, just in case you haven't seen pre-market, we are skyrocketing higher. We are skyrocketing higher. Volatility is falling off a cliff. Bitcoin's getting a nice bounce. Obviously, the market is very, very enthusiastic at this moment in time.
Looks like we're getting very close to the shutdown. We'll never agree to give any substantial money or any money to really prisoners, illegals that come into our country. And I think the Democrats understand that. And it looks like we're getting close to the shutdown ending. You'll know very soon. Thank you very much.
Jill Deesis joins us now to talk us through what we know, what we don't know. Jill, what progress has been made?
So at this point, Guy, what we've done is we've reached the success of a procedural sort of test vote in the Senate. So this kind of opens the door for the Senate to then reconvene in the morning, so Monday U.S. time, and actually put this to another vote. So this came through 60-40. What this would ultimately do is to fund some government agencies for the next year, but only a few, really Congress itself, plus the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Veterans Affairs, and then it would keep keep other government agencies funded through January 30th, in addition to providing some funding for furloughed workers, et cetera. So it does bring an end to the shutdown. In sort of response to this, the moderate Democrats that the Republicans were able to sway over to achieve this 60-40 vote that say that they were promised basically another vote on some Obamacare tax provisions that was ultimately at the heart of the shutdown. So that could come sometime in December if that's what was ultimately achieved here. So that's pretty much where we're at. But again, I think still a long way to go before this is actually, we'd consider the shutdown over. But it is a pretty significant step in ending what's been a 40-day shutdown.
Exactly, Jill. Are the market's getting a bit too optimistic here? What happens next? What about the House? Is this going to get past that?
Very, very optimistic.
That is a great question, and I think we've already heard from some House Democrats that are not particularly in favor of this plan. So look, I mean, at this point, certainly we've got all indications that this particular plan will pass the Senate. That is an open question in terms of, how this kind of, moves forward. And also remember, though, that even though it's passed this sort of procedural test vote, any sort of response from any senator, while they can't actually block the vote outright, could potentially delay it for another couple of days. So there's still not entirely certain that all of this is going to be wrapped up, incredibly instantly. I think the other point, too, when it comes to a lot of the Democrats is that while it has, achieved this pretty significant milestone in the Senate, again, this doesn't really include anything that really kind of lays down in concrete terms, what the Democrats were ultimately asking for here in terms of, some of those concerns over health care, those tax breaks, that kind of thing. I mean, you do have this pledge from the Republicans that there will be, a bill brought forth in December. But again, it really does fall short of some of those concessions that Democrats were ultimately seeking here. We've already heard from a couple overnight, that are kind of dissatisfied with the direction this is taking. So I'm sure there will be more to come in the morning. But again, so there's certainly, some signs that the shutdown could be ending, but a lot of hurdles that we have to overcome before we ultimately reach that point.
I think that Jill there does a really good job at explaining, hey, people are excited because for the first time in 6 weeks, we're finally getting some signs that this might have a conclusion. We're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but please understand there is still more tunnel to go through. It has not officially gone through the Senate this morning. Right now, the market is kind of excited for the fact that it will officially go through Senate early this morning, and it probably should because of the procedural vote that already happened. That's really what the market is extrapolating forward because of what politicians are kind of telegraphing. And then from there, it's going to go to the House. So we're getting closer than we have, but please understand it is not a done deal. But remember, with the stock market, it is more of a future-looking, forward-looking organism, and that's really what it's playing off of. Government shutdown could be headed for end as Senate passes first stage of New Deal. The Senate passed the first stage of a deal that would end the U.S. government shutdown, which began on October 1st. A procedural measure that allows other votes on the agreement to be held on Monday was approved by a minimum of 60 yes votes after 8 senators in the Democratic caucus broke with the party leadership to support the deal. So some of them are saying, hey, the world is getting a little crazy right now. Maybe we should do something. I know in a certain sense that this is not the most impactful thing that's been going on with the government shutdown, but as a person who is recently flying as much as yesterday, I firsthand saw just the havoc that it's even causing with the FAA. I mean, it is absolutely insane. The delays, the cancellations, it's just pure chaos right now. And that's just one little sliver of it. Like I said, I'm not even arguing that it's the most crazy thing that's going on right now. But when you kind of multiply that out by all the things that this government shutdown is impacting, you can probably understand why the market's so excited right now, because what we're dealing with is ideally, or very clearly, not good. The deal does not include an agreement to extend the ACA enhanced tax credits, which had been the major sticking point for Democrats. But remember, as we just heard from Bloomberg, that the 8 votes that broke away, they were pretty much promised that, hey, we're going to talk about this and we're going to vote on it on a separate thing, does not relate to this specific shutdown. Now, obviously, that could be political talk, or it might be the real deal. I don't know. I'm not clairvoyant. I just want to do my job and kind of explain where the current situation is at. On top of all that, remember when I said there's multiple things pushing the market higher? Trump suggests a $2,000 payout to Americans as he defends tariffs. President praises benefits of the levies after Supreme Court appears skeptical of his justifications for many of them. So over the weekend, we got this little ditty from the president on Truth Social. Once again, November 9th. People that are against tariffs are fools. We are now the richest, most respected country in the world with almost no inflation and a record stock market price. 401ks are the highest ever. We are taking in trillions of dollars and will soon begin paying down our enormous debt of $37 trillion. Record investment in the USA, plants and factories going up over the place. A dividend of at least $2,000 a person, not including high-income people, will be paid to everyone. Now, once again, is this going to happen? Is it not going to happen? I do not know. I cannot tell you the future. But what I can tell you is the last time we all got stimulus checks, the market went crazy, circa 2020, 2021. And right now, the market, once again, saying that there's a non-0% chance that this does happen is obviously getting pretty excited. So right now, the two pieces of big news are the fact that maybe the government shutdown is closer to being over than it is the start. We might be getting more stimulus checks. And look at this. China suspends some critical mineral export curbs to the U.S. as trade truce takes hold. So right now, it seems as if this moment in time, both sides, the U.S. and China, are doing their best to make good on this trade deal. So we're removing that uncertainty and those tensions, and we're already seeing the play out of all of this together, not just in the equities market and the crypto market, but I find personally to be the most influential. And I know that this is going to be really boring, but I think it's really important. Talking about the SOFR rate, the secured overnight financing rate. Basically, the big banks, when your particular market is shut down, they lend money to each other in the overnight session. For banks pledge, it is level in more than 2 years. So these rates are dropping, which is actually suggesting very high levels of liquidity. Think about it. It's going to be the inverse. If everyone is willing to put up some money, well, the rate that you're going to pay for that money is less. Maybe another way to think about it is in the overnight lending session, there's so much liquidity that the interest payments you're getting to provide that liquidity is less because there's so many more other people doing it. And historically, when you see the SOFR rate this low, well, generally that's bullish pressure to the upside. It means that capital itself is easy to get. There's a lot of liquidity. And like I said, I don't want anyone's eyes to gloss over here. We don't have to get into a PhD level economic breakdown of what this means in terms of monetary policy in the markets. But the real TLDR here is when you see the rate dive this much, that means we have an excess of liquidity favoring the bulls. So if you're bullish, you want to see this. If you're bearish, you definitely do not want to be seeing this. Obviously, in my opinion, and this is more of, we're getting away from data and we're getting more into the opinion side of things. When I look at what's going on with seasonality, when I look at the government shutdown, when I look at what's going on with the U.S. trade deals, when I look at even recently the earnings, if you look at the S&P 500 based on the ones that have reported, 80% of companies have beat their earnings estimate. When I'm putting that all together, this is the chart that shows the net result. So I get it. We're sky high and we haven't really taken a breather quite yet, but based on the current set of information, and remember, the situation, it is dynamic. Things can change just like that. But based on all the data we have right now, even though we're sky high, it seems, in my humble opinion, that it's more likely that we have another leg up before we have a leg down. But also that in itself isn't the craziest call out when what we just had was a little bit of a leg down, which really doesn't seem different from all the other previous legs down. I get it. In the meantime, when you're living that, that's not the most fun situation. That's actually a little bit brutal to live through. But really, does it seem any different? Leg down, little leg down, leg down, leg down, leg down, leg down. This is just what we do. We caught ourselves at the 50 EMA. Yes, granted, we are opening up and now there's the downside gap fill. That is something that you should be mindful of. But overall, I think it is more likely that this is the end of one downward leg and we are setting up another push to the upside. Once again, my own opinions. Please do what you think is appropriate, but putting all this information together, that's what I currently see. Of course, if you haven't already, sign up for the newsletter. You're going to get a breakdown of the market. You're going to get a cheat sheet of earnings. And right here, There's one particular earnings on this list, not on this list, that we got to talk about, and we're going to circle back to that. But I just wanted you to know after the market closes, Rigetti, so if you're into quantum computing, Oxy, Plug later on this week, Oklo, I know a lot of you are paying attention to that, Circle, Cisco, Disney. So even though most of the S&P 500 is reported, there are still some major players in the Russell 2000. So just in case you are invested in those, trading those, please pay attention to this list. As I already alluded to with respect to the major macroeconomic events, a lot of these are maybe, and depending on how quickly the government moves, we actually might be getting these this week. So CPI, initial jobless claims, PPI, retail sales, they're all still kind of a shrug, a question mark. But as of now, things are trending in a way where that actually might be going down this week. With respect to seasonality, today, historically, it does favor the bulls. This is the hypothetical equity curve you would have. Later on this week, Tuesday, tomorrow, it's a bit more bearish. Wednesday's a bit more neutral. Thursday's leaning bullish, and Friday's a bit more neutral. So no clear absurd bullish trend or absurd bearish trend. But what is interesting is today and tomorrow are kind of reverting each other. So I want to call that out. And even though, we actually perfect. We have a great amount of time this morning. I do want to talk about one individual ticker before we turn to the overall market. Right now, Rumble, RUM, is currently up 14% in pre-market trading, and at one point it was as high as 32%. So right now, Rumble having a very, very, very good morning session, and it's all because of its earnings. Rumble reports third quarter 2025 results. Revenue for the third quarter was $24.8 million. The monthly active users, aka MAUs, were 47, and the average revenue per user, the ARPU, was 45 cents. So that in itself was pretty good. Maybe depending on how you do your fundamental breakdown, you might have wanted a little bit more, maybe you were okay with a little bit less, but in my mind, that wasn't the exciting thing. Check this out. Breaking. Rumble secures 100 million advertising commitment from Tether. Rumble, the freedom first technology platform, today agreed on a $100 million advertising commitment from Tether, representing a $50 million per year over a 2-year period beginning in the first quarter of 2026, as in this upcoming January. 50 million one year, 50 million another year. That in itself is great because, hey, you're getting Rumble's name out there. I think in this modern era, a lot of people know about Rumble, but there's more people who still need to learn more about what the company is, what it stands for, and how it functions, and how awesome, in my humble opinion, it is. So great. Marketing dollars, we're getting more out there, but the fun does not stop there. Breaking. Tether doubles down on Rumble with an initial commitment of up to $150 million of GPU services to fuel AI plans. The fact that Rumble is expanding its business offerings clearly beyond just being a video platform, which I like, but right now seeing the AI wave of what's going on, and in my opinion, the trend of where AI and technology is going, the fact that Rumble is kind of seeing those next couple of chapters and they're setting themselves up to get a portion of that pie. Personally, as an investor in Rumble, I don't actively trade it, but I do own Rumble shares. I love this. Rumble, the freedom first technology, today agreed to a significant GPU. Those are the processing chips, just if you don't know what that is, graphics processing unit, GPU, commitment with Tether, the largest company in the digital asset industry and the most widely used dollar stablecoin across the world with more than 500 million users. And wait, there is even more. Rumble to acquire AI infrastructure company Northern Data. I talked about this with the founder, CEO, and chairman of Rumble, Mr. Chris Pavlovski, last earnings call, where they let the world know they were looking into the deal. It sounded like they had to get the numbers to make the math make math. And right now, it sounds like they were able to do it because the deal is a done deal. So the fact that Rumble is leading into this world of really Northern Data, it's going to be a hyperscaler play. I absolutely love it. And I do want to remind all of you, though, that the last time around, it looks like they already have clients set up, aka Tether. So like to see this business connection, I feel like a crazy person because to me, it is so evident of what's going on. And if I had to guess in the next couple of quarters, I would not be surprised, not just a little bit, but the revenue, the quarterly revenue on Rumble in my book is about to skyrocket because now they have this data facility. They already have agreements from a company to be using that compute. To me, it's obvious. And if you don't believe me, go look into the recent reports from Northern Data of what their quarterly revenue was. And I would say it's a safe assumption that it's going to be at that or now even higher. So to me, this is a very obvious play. And obviously the market agrees because we're already up 15%. Anyway, they signed a business combination agreement with Northern Data AG, a leader in the AI and high-performance computing, the HPC infrastructure. So, yes, we looked at Rumble, currently up 14%. I would love to see it test $7 out of the gate to see if it can hold that. And then even though it doesn't trade on the U.S. markets, let's see if I have it. Does it trade in Milan? I don't know. This might be the right market. That's up 35%. So I'm pretty sure is the right one. I don't know if these are depository receipts, but regardless, that you could see Northern Data once again not trading in the U.S. market. It's trading in the European market. I thought it was listed in Germany. Is it on the DAX? DAX. I don't know these off the top of my. I have a feeling that these are all depository receipts. I thought it was on the DAX. We could double check it, or I could see it on Yahoo Finance. Let me just check this one. Okay, that's delayed. That's not the right one. But you get the idea that it's up about 35%. So obviously this acquisition, as of now, being received very, very, very well. So obviously, as a person on Rumble, as a very, very happy finance creator, streamer on Rumble, covering the finance and the number side of it, and then just seeing what it's going to be doing for marketing. If you're bullish on Rumble, I don't know how this doesn't put a smile on your face. I really don't. I mean, to me, that's some pretty awesome news. So we're going to be cycling back to that. I do want to point out a couple of things of the overall market just before we get rocking today. So right here, daily chart. As of this moment, there's a chance that we're opening just below 6,800. According to Spot Gamma, we're opening in the realm of 6,793. That puts us up basically here. To put that another way is there's going to be a large downside gap fill opportunity. Is it going to fill today? I don't know. The odds of it are high, but obviously it's counter trend to all the news we are getting. So do with that information whatever you want. But obviously we are getting a gap up today. So there's going to be a downside gap fill on the SPY. I'm looking for a technical breakout to the upside. Same thing on the Qs. There's going to be a downside gap fill all the way to basically 610. There is still an upside gap fill on the Qs. So there's two large gaps and we're roughly in the middle of it. Same thing on the Russell. There's going to be a downside gap fill and I'm looking for this technical breakout. So on the daily chart, things are strong. We're finding support. We're bouncing off that 50 EMA, but I just need you guys to be mindful, even though I'm bullish. And I would argue the situation does favor the bulls. If in some event the bull camp cannot successfully hold 6,800, please be mindful of the downside gap fill. I am playing it to the upside. I want to be very transparent and forthcoming with all of you. I am looking for a continuation to the upside, but just being a person who understands the math of these downside gap fills, right here, it would be on SPX to 6729. You gotta be mindful of it. So on top of it, obviously we're going back to risk on. You can see Bitcoin getting a little bit of a double bottom here. I'd love to see it above 107, 108. And then I would say the bulls are back in control, taking out the 50 EMA 112. We're seeing gold catch a bid, popped, pulled back, double bottom, starting to wake up. Gold is looking interesting. Honestly, there's a lot of opportunity right now. So I'm uniquely excited for whatever today has in store for us. And on that note, I should quickly get to the 1 minute on all of this stuff. Let's get over here. I have a feeling that the VIX is going to get smashed today. Where is Rumble? I want to watch Rumble out of the gate. Like I said, I'm watching that $7 mark. And across the board, there's seemingly just quite a bit of opportunity today. Where are we at? And on that note, dingity ding ding ding. The world's largest casino is now open. Best of luck to all. Play responsibly. And if not, have fun. Don't be surprised. A little bit of profit taking at market open. This is seemingly more normal than not. When people get big gap ups, especially short-term swing traders, they like to lock in. And hey, for good reason, I am not going to blame them. I'm paying attention. I did break one of my rules, so if you want, feel free to yell at me. Feel free to chastise me. I did do some pre-market trading. A video is coming out today, but for those of you paying attention to Apex, I did get my request denied, and I knew it was going to get denied, but you have to request it anyway. for them to restart your trading cycle. And I have a video coming out today that fully explains that entire situation. But anyway, I locked those in just because I now need to trade one more day and then I can request again. So I just don't really want to fumble that situation. That's why these are all closed out. And then my target on these was $1,000. And as you saw, I already hit it. So did I break my rule? I did. Sorry. Sue me. I'm a degenerate. I came back from the Dominican. I was feeling a little bit spicy, and I thought I saw an opportunity. I got in. Actually, I was trading quite a bit this morning, but you could see I got in back here, and I rode that up. So $1,000 locked in. Oh, wait. You guys can't see this at all. I'm such a dweeb. I'm such a fuck up. Stupid. Fucking, you're so dumb, Matt. You dumb. You're the dumbest fucking streamer ever. Fuck. Dumb. So dumb. Stupid. I was supposed to have potential. The prophecy foretold a streamer who had potential, and clearly it is not me. It is obviously not me. Fuck. I'm so dumb. I didn't even make it an hour into stream, and I'm already fucking everything up. Worst streamer ever. Worst live show on the planet. Anyway, whatever. 1,000. So that's 10,000. And then on 15 accounts, I made 400. So you could do the math on that, but it's about $6,000. So $6,000 there, 10 grand there, 16 grand. We're 2 minutes into the workday. I might still keep trading these accounts, the take profits. Actually, let's do that. If I see opportunity, I'll trade the take profits. Let me get that set up properly because the other ones, the math might not be mathing the most. So let me just get this set up on just the take profits. Okay. So basically, I'm already done with Apex on the day, and also the Funded Futures Network, the bot is on there. The Orbo bot is there, so we're going to see if that ends up trading. But basically, on Apex, there's really, in my mind, the risk-reward isn't necessarily worth it because I am 1 day away from being able to request on the big accounts. And when I say big, it just has a large buffer. These all started at 50K, and they're up about 18, 17, 19,000 each. So I just don't want to fumble that in all reality. So I'm just going to do another trade tomorrow and then hopefully get the next request in. I do have 5 fresh, or no, technically I've traded them 3 days, but anyway, made 1,000. So those are looking good. In terms of that consistency rule, I don't want to overdo it. And that means I still have these take profits, which they're 150K each, which means I still have the opportunity to actively trade those. Did you ever have a payout on Apex? This most recent time I was denied, but in general, I've had a lot of payouts from Apex. So the most recent one, obviously, I got denied, and I have a full video breaking that down. It'll come out either at noon or 1 p.m. today. So whether you're on Rumble or if you're on YouTube, that video will be coming out today. So I just want to let everyone know about that. Rumble is looking good. Let's move that all the way up just so we can see what's going on. I'm looking for vol to die off. In a weird situation, I wouldn't mind if the market goes up and vol goes higher, but we're going to see. There is a little bit of a chance that we could see what's referred to as a Vanna rally today. Remember, a Vanna rally only exclusively happens when people YOLO into a bunch of puts, like an abnormal amount of puts. People are overpaying for it. And then out of nowhere, the market goes up and vol gets crushed. So it doesn't happen. It is an interesting phenomena. And it does happen. Maybe I don't even know how often it happens. It feels as if we see it once or twice a year. But I myself am wondering if we have the ingredients for a Vanna rally today. We need vol to get crushed, and we basically need to see people puke puts. So they need to sell a bunch of puts. So what you're gonna see, like a telltale sign of it, these blue lines are for the S&P 500. The light blue and the dark blue are for puts. You want that put line to skyrocket. It adds extra gas onto the fire if the green and the orange also go up. So basically, at minimum, you want the blue going up. It would be nice if the green and the orange also go up. But anyway, if the blue's going up, that is suggestive of the fact that people are selling puts. Now, are they selling to open, selling to close? I would think in this situation that they're going to be selling to close, which is a good thing. People are closing out their puts. If that happens as vol is dying, that means market makers don't have to be as hedged to the downside. So they're going to buy the underlying and you get the push back up. So if you want to know how that's played out historically, I know one really, really good example of it is, where is August? Right here. So there has been other events of this more recently, but I think just from just a teaching standpoint, the best one really on the chart is this. So basically everything was fine. We're saving ourselves at the 50 EMA. Yen carry trade is about to blow up. We go down again. Everyone bought an extreme amount of puts into this. We start to recover. Vol starts to die off. All those puts start to get bought or sold. Really, they were long puts and they got out to go back to neutral. And then basically that leads to these V-shaped recoveries. So it was a 7% drop followed by a 9% rally. So am I saying that that's definitively what's going to be happening this time around? No, but I do see a decent drop. I see the market is starting to recover. I'm looking at vol continuing to die. But remember, you need to see those puts getting sold. And right now, so we have the ingredients for this particular recipe, but are we baking a Vanna rally cake? I don't know. We're going to be finding out, but obviously I will be paying close attention to that. Obviously, as I put in the Discord, if you're in the Discord, I highly recommend that you read Coffee Thoughts this morning. To me, this is the battle of 6,800. If you look at the particular vol setup, we're in a little bit of a pocket of positive gamma right now. This is positive gamma. This orange, this purple region, basically between 68.15 and right now 67.60. You have this purple, you have this sticky price action. It is positive gamma. It is not bullish. It is not bearish. It just means that things are pretty well balanced out. And if you go up, look for reversion. If you go down, look for a bounce. It's price reversion, and you basically come back to the EMAs. But you're going to notice at 68.20, that's all negative gamma. That is trend following. If you're going to look at 67.40, that is negative gamma. So right now, opening up, at least in my opinion, and either take it or leave it, this is up to you. I'm just sharing my thoughts. I'm not telling anyone here how to trade, but I do want to let you know that if we get going in either of these directions of negative gamma, we can really get going. So when I think of that, am I optimistic? Am I biased? Obviously, yeah, because I have a bunch of calls right now. But I'm looking at this 68.20. If we can tilt into negative gamma, knowing that a lot of people recently bought puts and these puts get puked, and that happens as vol dies, to me, that's setting up an explosive Vanna rally. If you want to look up more of a Vanna rally, V-A-N-N-A. That is what I am looking for. And in my mind, it comes down to the battle of 6,800. Can the bulls hold above it? And then it's a nice breakout above 68.15. Actually, has that changed? It did change. Oh, no, it didn't. Right here. People were selling these calls. This is kind of that last stand, because if not, we're going up to 68.50, at least the way I see the market. So I'm watching this 68.15 level very, very closely. And obviously, it's marked out on the chart. I think from a psychology standpoint, holding 6,800 is big for the bulls, and it's also an important technical level and gamma level. But I think the party starts right here when we could potentially tilt into negative gamma to the upside. And I should clarify, this is negative gamma right now, but as people trade, it could become positive gamma, but also you could rightfully say that it could become more negative gamma. So I just want to clarify what's happening there. So a lot of exciting stuff. Looking for that, watching this breakout. I highly recommend marking out that level, because if we can break, if we're holding this, as when I say this, I mean 6,800. Awesome. From there, if we can break and hold 15, that means we're taking out this call credit spread. And then from that moment, the next thing is all the way up at 68.50. And if we're at 68.50 on the daily chart, we're all the way back up here. Like, we're back into not just like our fighting class, but we're going for like the championship title, the belt again. So I want to point that out. I know we're getting a little bit into the submitted. Oh, what? Order submitted. Oh, the bot. All right, the bot is targeting 20.5, a little bit of an Orbo breakout. We must be 10 minutes into the day. Obviously, it's just the 10-minute Orbo, but I added on filters that it only takes the Orbo breakout if the breakout is with the overall trend. And I think it is to no one's surprise that right now the overall trend is up. 5-minute bullish, 10-minute bullish, 30-minute bullish, 4-hour even recovering bullish, 5-minute bullish, 10-minute bullish, 30-minute bullish, 4-hour pushing bullish right now. Granted, the last time we pushed bullish, it ended up becoming a horrific hit on Wednesday, but maybe the second time is a charm here, and we already locked that in. So we're looking pretty good on the day. The Orbo made $200. My Icarus made $400 on the big accounts. You guys saw the other trade making another $10K there. So in terms of my day trading, I might trade a couple more of these right here, but I kind of just want to see how things like really shape up today. I want to see how things play out. I already have enough exposure to the upside. Speaking of which, I should see my accounts. Well, that's actually still not anywhere close to where I thought it would be. Where are we at? So that is pushing 6,810. All right. NDX. This needs to look alive, brother. This needs to look alive. All right. Well, in my mind, it's coming down to this. We took out the first level of resistance here. Attempt 1, flat, breakout. And now we are drifting up to the next key gamma level. The next key gamma level, we don't need this at the moment, is right here. This call credit spread 6,815 by 6,820. This is where large money is positioned, which is exactly why I have it marked out right here. This is test number 2. From there, I cannot tell you who's going to win, and all I can do is tell you these are key levels. If the bulls win it, I'm looking at 6,850. If the bears win it, I'm looking for a rejection back down to 6,800. It's an if-then statement, and I'm just going to do my best to react to this accordingly. Obviously, as we are attempting to be patient and wait for those perfect opportunities, this is the best time for me to tell you about our partner, who you guys have already heard a lot about, and that's because, in my humble opinion, they are a phenomenal company. Shout out to Public. It is the partner of today's show, and obviously it is my favorite place to trade options. Obviously, you could also trade futures and bonds and stocks, and that's all great. But if you are an options trader, this is, in my humble opinion, your best, no pun intended, option for you to trade because you get a rebate. It's as simple as that. We don't have to overcomplicate it. If you are an options trader or an inspiring options trader, the fact that you might not be on Public blows my mind because it's the only place where you get a rebate. There are no commission fees. There are no per contract fees on stocks and ETFs. Every single time you trade a call or a put, doesn't matter if you're buying or selling, you're earning rebates. So if you get into a SPY call at $1 and you get out at $1, you are not break even. You are net ahead because of the rebates. And if you start to do more complicated things such as iron condors, well, you're going to earn even more rebates. So for that alone, I think it's worthwhile to check out. It is pinned to the top of chat. It is in the description of the video. It is free to download. It is free to sign up. Make sure to use that link because you're going to start out at a higher rebate tier. And then from there, if you're a stock trader, there's no payment for order flow. If you're a bond trader, it has the best UI UX I've seen. If you're a crypto trader, they're also offering that. They have high yield accounts. They have retirement accounts. It's basically a one-stop shop for what you need. And why I personally believe this brokerage is at another level relative to the other ones is because over the past how many ever years, time and time again, they've proven that they have you, the trader, the client's back, rather than the market makers where we've seen a couple other brokerages side on the side of the market maker, the person paying them, rather than the actual traders. So for that, I think you should check them out. When you dive into the numbers, it's a no-brainer, even if you're just like, hey, I want to trade at the best place to trade, best opportunity to really create your account, your trading strategies, and push it higher and higher. I think it wins there. Basically, across the board, I think it's winning. Recently, they announced their API. So for my more nerdy traders and coders in here, or coders who are traders, yes, you can algorithmically trade on Rumble as well. So really, as I said before, and I'm going to say again, it's a one-stop shop. It is pinned to the top of chat. It's in the description of the video. Use that link. You'll start out at a higher rebate tier. Yes, there's a tier system. Obviously, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, reach out to me. I'll do my best to answer. And if not, I can at least get you connected to someone at the company to answer whatever questions might be on your mind. But obviously, a shout out to Public. As I said, I mean, it's where I'm trading. It's where I put my money. It's where I have my accounts. I absolutely love it. I've been with them for now at least 2 years. And honestly, every couple months, they have another astounding announcement. And I think it's only but upside. Only only but upside. So like I said, it's in the description of the video. It's pinned to the top of chat. I'm seeing Nvidia is having a pretty large rebound this morning, up 3.6%. I'm seeing Tesla's up 2, Rumble's up 14.7, Palantir's up 6. Dude, Palantir's going today. 6.5. Wow, that's a big gain. We got some gainers, folks. So Rumble's up 15, Palantir's up 6, Nvidia's up 3.6, Amazon's up 2.5, Tesla's up 2, AMD is up 4.4, SoFi is up almost 6%, CoreWeave is up 5. We're getting some big gains today. Hood's up 5%. There's some monsters roaming around the stock market today. That's a sea of green, folks. In my mind, we don't have to overcomplicate it. It's this simple. We're waiting for this test of 15. If the Bulls win the test, I think this is going to be a breakout of a runner day. If the Bears win this test, I think we're coming back down to 6,800, and then we're going to have to reevaluate from there. I guess I should be more specific on the breakout and the runner. My next target would be 50. So that's obviously going to be a nice 35-point climb from there, which is roughly equivalent to about $3.50 if you're looking on SPY, if you need an equivalent on SPY. But dude, I'm seeing a lot of green. I'm seeing the VIX die. It's down 5.8%. This thing is cooking. Should I look in my account? My account wasn't looking pretty Thursday and Friday when I did have internet. So, okay, I'm seeing a decent recovery right now. Ooh, I'm getting really beat up on Tesla. I need Tesla to get cooking here. And if it could get cooking like now, that would be 6. A nice recapture of like 460, 465, which seems like quite a swing. I need that to really, really get going. I really need that to get going. Yahoo Finance, Northern Data. I want to see. Okay, it's the NBT2. So what exchange is this on? The NB, 34%. Wow. This is the company that Rumble just had the business combination with right here. 5 hours ago, Rumble to acquire Northern Data deal valued up to $970 million. Wow. This is, continue reading. Yeah, we just saw this early this morning. Rumble to acquire Northern Data and deal valued up to $970 million. Tether is an investor in Rumble and Northern Data and will become an important customer in the combined group. Rumble will acquire German AI infrastructure company Northern Data for up to $970 million. They are making some money moves. Under the deal, Northern Data shareholders will receive 2 newly issued Class A Rumble shares in exchange for each Northern Data share held, the company has said. Based on Rumble's closing price on Friday, the exchange offer values of Northern Data at about $767 million or $11.95 per share. Assuming all shares are tendered, Northern Data shareholders would hold around 30% of the enlarged Rumble. Oh, Northern Data shareholders could also get up to $200 million in cash if a sale of its previously owned data centers in Corpus Christi, Texas, to an infrastructure investor that is evaluating the site under an exclusivity agreement is successful. Wow. Making some moves. So this is one of the big moves. The other big move is the $100 million in Rumble marketing from Tether. And then the third big thing is going to be the $150 million in GPU purchases from Rumble, once again, from Tether. So it's kind of like that 1, 2, 3 combo punch that we're seeing following this earnings call. Once again, with respect to RUM, which is currently, it's still up double digits. That's crazy. Northern Data is also up double digits. It's going to be interesting to see how this really gets going. All right. I'm a little bit waiting for this 10 a.m. hour here to see how this gets rocking today. I'm watching this guardrail of 15. I'm watching this guardrail of 800. And I'm curious to see how it's going to all be playing out. right now, here's a look at the Mag 7 options flow. Pretty bullish. It's going a little bit flat right now, but from market open to this moment, you are seeing no one touch puts and people are buying calls. And it seems like a decent amount of calls are being bought for this Friday. Looking at the S&P 500, a little bit of a different situation. There's a little bit of put selling, but right here, people just sold their calls. There's 0 DTE calls were flat, and then starting at 940, the calls are dipping to the downside. So for this to have a shot of just this breakout to 15 and the follow through, you're gonna want to see that trend change. But for whatever reason, calls flat, starting at 940, about 10, 11 minutes into the day, 0 DTE call selling. Now they might be selling to open, they might be selling to close. Obviously, if you're selling to close, it's because we gapped up and people are locking in their gains. Or if you're selling to open, you're putting an overhead ceiling on top, and that's going to be adding to more positive gamma. But it is that's what happened right here. I could show you in real time. That's the latter case is exactly what happened. You see how this one disappeared, and there's a new position up here at 25, and there's actually no, the 50 was there. So what happened? This call selling, this green line dropping, was people selling calls at, what was it, 25. So actually, you should still probably watch 15 just because people were reacting to it this morning. But the new position that people are, once again, they're trying to put a lid on the day. When you sell calls, you're putting positive gamma into the system. And when you're coming from underneath, that's going to serve as resistance. But this is the level. And this has been created since market open. It's exactly this. I'm showing you guys exactly the creation of it. 940 until now, this little 10-minute spurt was the call selling right here, specifically at 25. So that's going to be another level of resistance that, once again, did not exist when the market opened, but it obviously is there now. It is there now. We have a bit of call selling. People are screaming Bitcoin is going down. I'm still seeing it at 105, folks. I'm seeing it at 105. I mean, I think there's actually a large chance that this is maybe a little bit of profit taking. I think more so it's people selling the 25, trying to put a ceiling on the day. It looks like if that call selling stops right here, maybe we're bottoming out. Maybe this was just a 10-minute bot. But if this stops and then obviously some optimism resumes, that means from a technical perspective, we basically just bounce off of 800. We take out 815 and then we test this next level at 25. So I'm kind of waiting for that. I think this ends up being just a higher low, but obviously that's about a 50-50 guess, roughly a 50-50 guess. So we're going to see how this really goes. Oh, man, what a day. What a day. Let's see. We attempted to get a little bit of a bounce going right there. What does this look like? I want to go over to, where's our, VWAP and everything is very, very far away. I currently have no live positions, but we did have some good money-making opportunities this morning. Where's VWAP? VWAP is down at 500, key technical level, key psychological level. So pretty much all the way down here. So we are not that close to it. We're not that close to VWAP. Remember, there is the chance of the downside gap fill, but what I would like, if anything, is just for this to be a double bottom. So everything's trending up. We sliced through all these EMAs. We got a little bit of a puke. We reverted back to the EMAs. This ended up getting sold, and I'm just looking for this to be a double bottom. Maybe we bounce off of 600. Obviously, your confirmation of that would be taking out this high at 951, which if you're trading NQ would be around 618, but clearly starting at 947, even though we saw the options market was a little bit of a front runner here because we saw options delta dive at 940. So price held on for about another 6 to 7 minutes. And then obviously the options delta movement ended up clearly winning. So I'm looking for this to be a double bottom, and that would just be the first thing of, we're reversing trend, because right now, looking at 947, you have lower highs and lower lows. In this particular time frame, that's the definition of a bearish trend. So your first inkling of maybe it switches is you take out a recent high. And then from there, you could be conservative and wait for the creation of a higher low. So obviously you would just want it above, I guess, 590. So you're looking for the takeout of 18. You're looking for a higher low to be created above 90. And that might be going from bullish, bearish, back to bullish. And ideally, that leads us for the first test of 815. But really, I want to see that push through and test of 25. But The Mag 7 is suggesting that this is likely. I mean, I'm showing you the delta flow right now. It looks long. It looks strong. We're seeing some clear optimism. No one is touching puts on the Mag 7. They are buying calls. And remember, this is the combination of Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Tesla. So we're seeing some strength over there. Bringing it back to the S&P 500. We're not seeing it quite yet. I'm looking for some sort of structure that the call selling stops, because starting at 940, 941, that's where the 0 DTE call selling got going. So just waiting for that. So a little bit of a sell-off right now. Maybe we're getting that 10 a.m. reversal. Obviously, your guess is going to be as good as mine, but I think we need to pay close attention. Even this. Look at how that just went the other way. People sold calls and sold puts. They might be adding more positive gamma to this system. We're going to see how this plays out. There's not much positive gamma. Our stability is not that high. So obviously, watch these bounds, the 6820, 6825, and now it is 6780. But there's a little bit of positive gamma that we're currently stuck in. Remember, that's mean reverting by definition. Let's see if we can break out of this positive gamma and either get to the negative gamma up here, which is what I'm looking for, or the negative gamma down here, which would create a pretty crazy day, but it would be a day that costs me a lot of money because I'm more so tilted to the upside. But we'll see how this really goes. Palantir, thus far, having a pretty solid day. Obviously, Rumble's having a great day. SoFi's having a great day. CoreWeave was giving a bit back now. Hood was giving a bit back now. AMD is off to the races. NVIDIA, kind of choppy. It gapped up enough, but it's not really trending right now. Amazon was looking good, giving a bit back. Tesla, just giving it back, just a bit of a gap up. Microsoft is having a decent day, recaptured 500. Apple's having a decent day. So two of the three biggest stocks in the world are looking pretty good. NVIDIA is just not doing much, but number 2 and 3, Microsoft and Apple respectively, are having solid days. Meta did puke, recovering. Broadcom did puke, recovering. Oracle did puke, maybe a little bit of a recovery. I'm looking at 953 just to be a higher low. As I explained this trade to you. I said the breakout of 18, it's a fresh high. You wait for a higher low, which just got created here. We popped up, we pulled back. This is the higher low. Your risk could be 607. Your entry is 16. You're risking 10 points. You've already now made 20 points. Like, that was a beautiful trade. If you were on your toes, to be fair, I did call this trade out. I said, wait for the breakout of 618. Wait for the creation of the higher low. The creation was confirmed right here. We went up, we pulled back. You made this V. Your risk is that recent low. You rode it up. You locked in one, stopped to break even, and now you have a freebie runner. Like, it's that simple. We don't have to overcomplicate it. It's truly that simple. I think sometimes the beauty in it is doing all right, 45, and we're already off. At this point, I would have locked in one, stop to break even, move on with your life. Easy peasy lemon squeezies. Easy peasy lemon squeezies. Am I on the right account? I probably should have taken that trade. I was trying to answer some of your questions. So the Nasdaq is doing a bit better, not surprising because we're seeing a lot of strength in the Mag 7 flow. The SPY's hanging a little bit behind because of this call selling, so waiting for that to stop. Hopefully this is the bottom here. Hopefully the program's done running at 10 a.m. and then maybe we can get some call buying to come in. So I'm still waiting for this test of 15, but now it seems like the first major upside test, or the next one, the first major one was 6,800. The next one I would have called out is 15, but since market open, the market has shifted. And now I would say that the one you gotta watch is 25. And then if the bulls can break and hold that, I'm still watching 50. Or if they get rejected, maybe look for the support at 15. So looking at this higher low, we pop up, we pull back. That was a pretty easy play. If you took it, you deserve all the money you are currently making, because you played with trend. You waited for a pullback. You waited, i.e., to lower your risk. And hey, it's all looking pretty good for you. Hang on one quick second. Let me switch this up. All right. Hang on. We have a little bit of a surprise going on for everyone today. So let me make sure we are good over there. Let me make sure we are good. Good, good. All right, cool. I think I did that as I was supposed to. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Oh, is this a lower high? Rom's looking good. Oracle, Palantir's back to 190. SoFi is having a good day. CoreWeave, Hood, AMD is looking good. We should throw that one up there. NVIDIA did just get a pop. All right, maybe this one's waking up a little bit. Amazon, not so much. Tesla's waking up. All right, we're going to watch that bad mamma jamma. We're going to watch that bad mamma jamma. All right. Vago, not so much. Meta's also waking up. That's going to help. That's part of the Mag 7. All right. So I know a lot of the percentages look good, but in terms of movers, Meta's now moving. Apple is moving. Microsoft is moving. AMD is moving. NVIDIA might get moving. Palantir moving. Tesla is looking to get moving. Rumble moving. Bitcoin's taking a bit of a hit. It looks like maybe some people are locking in gains there. As of now, the Nasdaq's up the most, 1.9%. The SPY's up 1.1%. Bitcoin is actually still green, even with all of this. Vol is getting hit, just kind of chilling at 18. The Qs did make a fresh high, but the SPY didn't, so that might be a little bit noteworthy. Coming into the 10 a.m. hour here, it looks like you had some sellers. So it's seemingly what happened was 10 a.m. hits. A little bit of a divergence though. SPY did not make a fresh high, but the Nasdaq did on an intraday period. For me, if I were a day trader, scalp trader, I would only be looking for bullish opportunities because that's currently the trend. 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute, 4 hour, it is all bullish. On the Nasdaq, same thing. 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute, 4 hour, it's all bullish. So not necessarily commenting on swing trades, even though this particular time around, my opinion is the same. But talking to the people in here who are maybe on Apex or something like that, or maybe you're playing zero DTEs, the trend is pretty evident, folks. Bullish, 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 bullish. And the one thing you're really waiting for is for the NASDAQ to this 4 hour bar to close, which it literally has 4 more hours. So we're not going to find out till 2 p.m., but to see if it can close above. So above 600 in my book is a pretty big win on the NQ contract. The MAG 7, let's keep checking in on this. It just hit a fresh delta high. So once again, if you're trading with trend, look at the options trend, look at the price momentum trend. Right now, MAG 7, it is pretty freaking bullish. And it feels like the thing we're awkwardly waiting for are zero DTE call buyers on the S&P 500, which have not been present since 940. They were, in fact, sellers till 10, and since then we've gone flat with a little bit of a push to the downside right now. I don't think these people are selling to close. I think they are selling to open just because of the new positions that were being seen created above, specifically at 6825, which means it's going to be a major watch for me. Once again, if you're paying attention to SPX, yeah, 815 is important, but now I really care about 6825 to the upside, and to the downside, I very much care that 6,800 holds. And actually, if we get that trend line breakout, I want to play it on Vanquish. I want to play it on Vanquish. Don't look at my password. That's cheating. I kind of, where was it? 6808. 6808. 6808. Oh, what am I on? I'm looking at SPX. I'm looking at the zero DTE. Okay, vol is a little high, but we are trending down. So we'll do the 6815. All right, I haven't done the order yet. I'm just getting ready. I'm kind of watching this trend line. So right now we have these lower highs, but you could argue you have higher lows as well. So just kind of waiting. Just waiting a little bit, trying to pinpoint that entry. And actually, can we see the puts are curling up, but the calls are still curling down. The MAG 7 is still showing an extreme amount of strength though. We're just waiting. All right, I need to get this over here. So I am looking on Vanquish at some zero DTE calls. The goal is to lock in Create order, go. I got a fill at 860, so that brings me up to 1001. So I want out at 1010 is my target. Sell to close, confirm. All right, once again, a fill at $8.60. I have 10 of them. I'm looking for a fill at 1010. So that should be $150 per contract. I have 10 contracts, so I'm looking for 1.5K. And then obviously the risk would be this recent swing low. So we're going to see how this goes. Actually, instead of explaining it all, I could literally just show you folks. Right over here. I'm in at 860. Just traded below 8. That's a bit of a bummer, but the order is sitting at 1001. So just wanted to show you that. Northern Data, $970 million deal. Rumble Q3 loss narrows, revenue decreases, agrees to all stock acquisition of Northern Data. Rumble just bought 40,000 NVIDIA GPUs and crypto's bankrolling the whole thing. Rumble to acquire Northern Data and deal valued at $970 million. Dude, this is some good news. Some good news. At least the way I interpret it. All right. Clearly just consolidation. VIX isn't doing much. Where are we at? Where were our high flyers this morning? Where were these high flyers? Dude, Palantir is going. Palantir is really going today. NVIDIA just got a nice bid. AMD is getting a nice bid. Microsoft's getting a nice bid. Apple did get a nice bid, a little bit of a pullback. And Meta is actually now catching a nice bid as well. Tesla's catching a nice bid. Some of these large, I mean, no one should be surprised. Look at it. I'm showing, like, why would you fight this trend? Like, you can't. This is the combo of the most influential tech. Open is getting a breakout. Or is it a breakdown? Open is actually recovering, almost died. Literally almost died and just saved itself. That's crazy. I hate this stock. And it's because, not because of the company itself. It's because of the people who are pumping and dumping it. It makes me, like, it's sick. It's disgusting. It's sick. It's disgusting. Hang on. All right, little bit of a consolidation here in SPX. We're right at that trend line. Obviously, from the trend line, you would be watching the top of it at 13, which is pretty much that next level. So watching for this trend line breakout, but what you have going on here is just a little bit of consolidation, a little bit of a run-of-the-mill consolidation. We had a nice pump. We pulled back, made a higher low, pumped up, lower high, higher low, lower high. We're just kind of building out this bull wedge, bull pennant, bull whatever the hell you want to call it. It's consolidation. You're waiting to see if there is a break to the upside, and if it does break, you're waiting for the hold. If it gets rejected, you're waiting for a break to the downside, and if that were to happen, you're going to wait to see if that holds. But let's see. I favor the break to the upside just because the odds tell me there's about a 10 to 15% edge, and I'm looking at the Mag 7 flow. That's looking pretty strong. The one, as Rick Santilli would say, fly in the ointment right now is this call selling. We need that call selling to stop because it's not really putting downward pressure, but in a sense it is because it is dropping the delta and it's adding ceilings above us, and the particular ceiling it's adding is up here at 825. So we're waiting to see who wins that particular battle. Very quickly, remember, shout out to Public. That's the place where I trade options, and I love trading on it. If you haven't done it already, literally it is riskless for you to check out. It is free to download. It is free to sign up. No harm, no foul. If you like the platform, which I think you are, great, use it. Use that link. You'll start out at a higher rebate tier. If it's not for you, okay, don't trade on it. Like I said, no harm, no foul, but I highly recommend that you guys check it out because you're going to realize how amazing the world of earning rebates are every single time you trade an options contract. Every single time. All right, what are we watching today? Now that we have actually a little bit of market structure to play off of, let's watch some of these recent highs and lows. At this moment, we have not had, no, We haven't had the Orbo breakout. The 30-minute Orbo breakout has not yet occurred. Obviously, we've had the 5, the 10, and the 15, but the bar created in the first 30 minutes, we have not broken to the upside or to the downside on either the SPY or the Qs. On the Qs, we got really, really close, really close. It just has not happened quite yet. So we're waiting to see what plays out there. Let's go to the 5-minute on all of this. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Man, oh, man, oh, man. Yeah, all right. So I'm watching for these highs. I think we should all be watching for 815. I think we should all... My play is roughly break even, if anyone is curious. I'm in at 860, and the last is 870. My target is 1001, attempting to be as transparent and forthcoming as I possibly can. SPX 0DTs, doing this on my Vanquish account, targeting basically $1.50 on 10 contracts to make a, right now it's unrealized P&L. I'm looking for the day realized P&L to say 1,500. That is the goal. That's what I'm shooting for. And hopefully it's about to come to fruition with this continuation. Bullish pump, consolidation, looking for that follow through. Like I said, I consider the confirmation of it either to be the measured move off this distance, which if you did that, I haven't done this type of measured move in a minute. That would be, it would actually bring us perfectly to 25. So if you do the measured move off the pullback, that's interesting because the breakout from there at 13, from that high to the low, pushes us all the way up. Interessante. All right. Well, as we are getting ready for this, let me check a couple other things going on over here. Hang on. Hold on, because I think we're going to be able to do something really cool today, and I appreciate everyone's patience, and I think I'm going to make your patience worth it in just 1 second. Let me just double check this. Double check what is going on over here. All right, perfect. Perfecto. All right, well, at this point, I can share the positive news in a few moments. You are not going to want to leave because we were able to carve out a very generous of 5 to 10 minutes of Mr. Chris Pavlovski's time. The founder, the CEO, the man behind the curtain, Mr. Chris Pavlovski of Rumble, the stock that is currently ripping up 12.6%, knocking down all of those deals, is going to be joining our show live to chat about everything going on. So, like I said, you're not going to want to miss it, especially for those of you on Rumble right now at this moment. He will be joining in a couple of minutes. And obviously, feel free to let some of your questions rip. I personally am very interested in not the 1, not the 2, but the 3 deals that were just announced. And we're going to hear it from the horse's mouth of what it really means for the future of Rumble. So we're going to hear from the man, the myth, the legend. How generous of a person is that I reach out to him and say, yo, like, do you have some time? And then he's like, hey, I'm going to make some time. That's so cool. That tells me, oh, we almost locked that in. That got really close to my profit here on Vanquish. That got really close. All right, let's see. We are good over there. We are good over here. I want to make sure the audio is good. We're looking good, folks. Good. Did we almost hit 15? Just so you guys know, I think I removed some of these alerts. Maybe some of the major alerts will go off in the interview. But if some crazy stuff is happening from the interview, you have the levels. The test is 815. 825 is now more important. The breakout from that, in my opinion, leads to 850. Looking at these key levels, you're looking at 825 once again, followed by 850. So watching for that. If there is a clear rejection at any of those levels, like 815, 825, obviously watch the level beneath. And right now the major one is 800. You could also watch the intraday low around 790. So we're watching to see how this holds. A little bit of a fake out breakout. What we're seeing is the Mag 7 strong pump going a little bit flat here at 1010. The S&P 500, the calls started to go up a little bit. Someone just sold a chunk of calls right there, which is why we're seeing a bit of a hit to the market. But I would play close attention to see if it continues or if that was just like one chunk order and someone needed to I don't know, for whatever reason, clear out their book, do this, that, or the other thing. But the Qs, the NASDAQ, QQQ, the ETF did get that 30-minute orbital breakout to the upside, and the SPY almost did. We were like a wick below, actually 2 cents below. So SPY still has not gotten that 30-minute orbital breakout, but the Qs did just now. So I just want to keep everyone on the same page there. All right, folks, let me just get this set up so we can speak with Mr. Chris Pavlovski. Let me just make sure some of the audio checks are good. So, folks, just hold on one quick second.
We good?
Ladies and gentlemen, the founder, CEO, and chairman of Rumble, Mr. Chris Pavlovski. I appreciate you taking out the time. I can only imagine how busy your day is right now, and the fact that you've carved out a quick 5 or 10 minutes to speak with us, obviously strong supporters of Rumble. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to the community. But I think I should kick this off by saying congratulations, because when I was prepping up the show today, it wasn't 1, it wasn't 2, it was 3 gigantic deals that you guys somehow put together. And at a certain point, it's just, when do you folks sleep over there at Rumble?
It's true. Over the summer, it's been insane, the amount of work that we've been putting into everything and getting to where we are today. But yeah, there's 3 transformational releases that we had in, I guess, early this morning. I think every single one of those releases, if we were to release them on their own, are so big in its own right that you kind of need to look at them individually almost. But in aggregate, all 3 of them, it's just a massive day for this company. It's completely historic. It puts Rumble on a new plane in my mind, and it kind of really reveals now what the plan is going to be going forward, and how serious Tether really is, and what we plan on doing in terms of our ecosystem and what we've built and what we're going to continue to build. So it's all on the table now. You can kind of see it, and it's gonna start rolling out as we move forward. But I couldn't be more excited to be where we are right now. It's been a lot of work and a lot of sleepless nights, and it's been up and down, but we're finally here, and it's better than I can expect.
I love it. So obviously referring to the 3 deals, just to give everyone tuning in a quick little TLDR, to my understanding, you have one giant marketing deal with Tether, 2 years, 50 million each, 100 million in total. Also via Tether, it seems as if there's going to be a large, right now with the Northern Data connection, but anyway, $150 million in GPU usage. And then from there, you guys now have the fresh new business combination with Northern Data, which for those of you who don't know, it's kind of in the world of data scaling. And we know from the last earnings that it seems like that was a natural connection with Tether itself, because they're saying, hey, well, if you guys end up buying it, we're going to be one of your clients. So it seems as if the things you were telegraphing in the last earnings call are now coming to fruition. Please correct me if I'm getting any of that wrong. And if not, I would love to hear you and the team's opinion of the parts of it that you think as an investor and a supporter of Rumble, we should be looking forward next, or the major deals we should be really paying attention to.
No, absolutely. So let's break it up a little bit, because they are 3 big, massive, different things. And I, all of them I love equally. But let's talk about the advertising deal. So there's a $100 million commitment by Tether to advertise on Rumble, with respect to the Rumble wallet. What's very incredible about this specific deal alone, and you look at it in a vacuum, Tether's going to spend $50 million in the next 2 years for a total of $100 million. And they're going to spend it through the Rumble Advertising Center, through the Rumble Studio. They're going to spend it across Rumble. And what we're going to be doing with those funds is aggressively seeking more creators on the Rumble platform, kind of like what we did in 2023 and 2024. The difference here from 23 and 24 is that in 23, we were going and signing creators, and we were hoping we were going to bring brands and advertisers to make up the difference on signing those creators. And for some creators, it worked very well, and for some creators, it didn't. Well, whereas now, we already have the commitment of advertising dollars from Tether to go and do that. So every creator we bring onto the platform is going to have we're going to have funding from the advertiser, which is Tether, to bring them onto the platform, and we're going to be making profit on it. So there's not going to be this gap where we need to make up with the creator and the advertisers. We actually now have the anchor advertiser, which is Tether. So we'll go and pursue hundreds, if not thousands, of creators to bring them onto this platform.
Wow.
Have them, bring their streams onto Rumble, bring their content onto Rumble, talk about the Rumble wallet, get their community to tip them using the Rumble wallet, which will have USAT, USDT, XAUT, which is Tether Gold, Bitcoin, and have that creator with their audience promote the Rumble wallet. So then this grows the Rumble platform and simultaneously grows Rumble wallet, which then benefits, USDT, which is Tether. So that's the plan, and that's the plan for 2026 and 2027. This will start in the first quarter of 2026, and we'll be bringing on many creators, large ones, small ones, you name it. We'll have the ad campaigns for Tether in Rumble Studio. So all creators can access these campaigns. And it's going to deliver, in my opinion, it allows us to deliver growth on the MAU front on Rumble in 26, but it's also going to help creators monetize a lot better. They're now going to have a real big advertiser to tap into. And imagine this, as a creator, you're advertising the Rumble wallet. You're advertising a way for your viewers to tip you during your stream, and you're going to get paid to do that. Think about that. You can't have a better advertisement for any creator on any platform than this. This is literally teaching your community on how to use the tools of Rumble to watch you while you're live streaming. And we'll put advertisements in VODs as well too, and there'll be programmatic advertising as well. But the whole concept here that creators can now use Rumble Studio, talk about the Rumble wallet, and get paid for doing that, and having their users now tip them in Bitcoin, and they're all getting paid for this, and Rumble's making their margin on that, and creators getting their cut on that, and Tether's winning because now the USD Tether is being used more, or USAT, depending on where you are. It's a win-win-win across the board. So just the advertising, $100 million advertising commitment on its own, I think, is a total game changer for the video platform and for what Rumble is going to do. It completely takes what we did in 2023 and 2024 and puts it on its head, and it's forward-leaning, and it's a win across the board. So I'm super excited about that. I think that puts a lot of excitement and energy into our team here and how to execute that over the next 2 years. So that's just one part of the deal, of the many deals that we announced this morning.
I love it. Like you said, I'm thinking about the comparisons to how it was a few years ago, and this is a bigger dollar value, and it's backed up. And as you were kind of really leaning into almost this self-fulfilling prophecy of the advantage of pitching it, because everyone at the end of the day wins, and that is just one. It feels like this conversation keeps coming back to, as you've already really clearly mentioned, is one big deal when there's actually three massive ones. And right now with this, I can't even call it the rise of AI in data centers. It's already there, and it just is growing at leaps and bounds. You guys are now officially a huge player. I believe Northern Data, I think they're talking 40,000 GPUs, and that is now yours. So now all of a sudden, just like a light switch, you guys have become a big player in the AI data center space. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's 22,000 GPUs, and it's 9 data centers, 4 of which are owned. And yeah, I think this goes into the first announcement early this morning is that we're on our way to acquiring Northern Data. Obviously, we signed that yesterday, and we're hoping to close that transaction by the second quarter of 2026. That puts us in a whole league of in a completely different league on the cloud side. So obviously Rumble's built this emerging cloud business that we launched in 2024. We have compute, we have storage, but what we didn't have is we didn't have our own land, we didn't have our own power, we didn't have our own data centers, and we didn't have that many GPUs. We had some, but we don't have 22,000 of them, I'll tell you that. So, now we're going to have an arsenal of over 20,000 H100 NVIDIA GPUs. This is a big deal, obviously, especially in the AI space. And not only are we, acquiring this company that does significant revenue and has, significant assets. They've deployed, I believe, over $1 billion in assets of land, power, and GPUs. That's a game changer for our cloud business. Rumble is no longer going to be an emerging cloud business. It's not. It's going to be a fierce competitor to the largest cloud businesses out there. Northern Data, and from what I understand, has one of the largest, if not the largest, GPU estate in Europe. So that puts us in a category on its own, and I couldn't be more excited to have that. I've always had the vision of, video is a great business, and it's never just been video in the vision. It's not just having a video platform. It's about having an advertising ecosystem. So the way we're looking at this now is multiple pillars of this business. You have the media pillar, which includes our video platform, which will include Rumble Shorts as well. It includes the Rumble Studio software. Then you have the advertising pillar, which is the ability for people like you to monetize programmatically through sponsorships, through Studio as well. That's the second pillar. The third pillar is going to be the payments pillar. That's the Rumble Wallet. That's where you're going to be able to get tipping in Bitcoin and stable coins. But eventually, we want that payments that payments pillar to work across not just for tipping, but for getting paid as a creator, paying for advertising. We want that to be a very big vehicle across all of our pillars. And then beside that, the fourth pillar is the cloud business, the emerging cloud business. But now with Northern Data, this blows up into be something much larger and a much more fierce competitor in the HPC in the cloud business. So now you have Rumble Cloud powered, with 20,000 plus GPUs in its arsenal, plus data centers, plus power access. It completely changes the game in the cloud business. And then for the future, we want more pillars. We want an AI pillar, which we'll be working with Tether on building. And then we're going to have a pillar for web tools, which is, think search, etc., VPNs. And then we're going to have a productivity suite as well, which is going to think about email, think about calendar, think about file storage, etc. And that's later in the future. So we're really building an entire ecosystem based on the premise of everything being freedom first. So every single pillar is going to be tied to freedom. Everything we're going to do is tied to freedom, privacy, and independence. And everything we do has to be completely resilient and against anything that could be canceled. So that's what we're building. That's what we're scaling to do. And we have a huge shareholder in Tether and a huge partner in Tether to help us go execute to do that. We have the pockets to do it now. We have the capital to go do it. And we definitely have the ambition to go do it.
Man, that is obviously sounds phenomenal. It is quite a bit to digest, but seriously, a massive congrats. I know you're a busy person, so I'm going to let you go, but the fact that you took 5-10 minutes to chat with us and share the new updated, idea of the vision and more specifically of how it's really actively in real time being executed upon, that all sounds great. So Chris, as always, appreciate the time. Congrats and best of luck in the next quarter, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Have a good one. Bye. There you have it. Mr. Chris Pavlovski talking about all the big things going on at Rumble. And I myself, I got really excited about the Northern Data thing in the last earnings when they said basically, hey, it's like something we're considering. It's something that we are looking at. And the fact that we are now it's basically coming to fruition and looking into it. So I misspoke there because I thought it was 40,000 GPUs. So it's 22,000 GPUs and there must be another 18,000 CPUs. But in my opinion, the way the world is trending, we are getting more and more into this concept of data processing, hyperscaling data centers, and the fact that it's such a large pie. If we just think about how much money in it as a pie, the fact that Rumble is now not just a little player in it, it's a large player in it. And then when you put that together with the new marketing to go grow the video platform, and then when you consider the fact that the revenue is pretty much already signed from Tether, and then as Chris, the CEO, founder, and chairman was just saying, they have ambitions to more so lean into AI and a whole product suite, it feels as if they are on clearly a long journey, clearly an arduous journey, but a journey nonetheless to, it almost feels as if it's like a whole parallel internet that they are attempting to pull off outside of the world of big tech. And when I think about it that way, it really does make me wonder. And generally, just for those of you who maybe don't have quite the tech background, when you already have big tech players, when there's a new up and coming company that might compete with them, they like to buy them early on to basically like cut them out, absorb them, so they don't have that competition in the future. And the more I think about Rumble's history and the current state of Rumble, doesn't it feel like somehow Rumble was one of the few companies that somehow was the fish that escaped the net before it could get caught? Like, I deeply believe, and maybe they would never say this publicly, but I deeply believe the companies who are competitors to them, I bet looking back on it now, they wish they bought them out really, really early on, just so they didn't have to deal with this. It feels like somehow they were the fish that escaped the net, and they're just continuing to grow and grow and grow. So I'm excited about this. It sounds, Chris was alluding to the fact that maybe it's going to be a done deal. I believe he said the second quarter of 2026. So please check what he said on that and check all the filings with that. But I'm beyond elated to see what those numbers are going to look like and how they are going to end up shaping up. So like, it sounds like Q3, Q4 of 2026. I mean, it's not complicated math here, folks. All we really have to do is look at how the numbers were for Northern Data, and you, I think, could safely assume those are going to be the new revenue numbers for Rumble, plus the revenue they already had, plus any growth there. Like, this just seems like a really, really basic math problem. In fact, it seems so basic that in my mind, I feel like a little bit of a crazy person of just like, well, hang on, like, what else is everyone else missing? Like, what is the market missing here? And it seems like maybe it's just the name notoriety. I know in here, a lot of you are obviously familiar with Rumble, but remember, a lot of people don't know what Rumble is to get the name out there. And it feels like, I wonder if the new marketing budget is going to help alleviate some of those issues. And then all of a sudden, when it becomes more culturally accepted, and then from there, when it's more accepted on the business side, it feels like it's going to very quickly be like a self-fulfilling prophecy, as he was alluding to. And then all of a sudden, it's going to be an overnight success, even though it was many, many years in the making, obviously with like kind of the writing on the wall. So, man, oh man, I'm excited to see where this goes, but obviously very, very nice of him to carve out a quick, 10 minutes of his time to chat with us right after he had a chat with Paulo of Tether, and they were live, and I haven't listened to that yet, but I'd highly recommend that you guys do listen to it. A lot of cool stuff going on. What's Rumble? Never heard of it while on Rumble. Man, cool stuff. And it looks like it was actually a perfectly timed interview because we didn't miss much. A little bit of a dip, a little bit of a pop, a little bit of nothing. The NASDAQ is still leading us higher, which I'm very, very excited about. The NASDAQ is very much leading us higher. That was not a bad purchase down here at 49. Am I on the right contracts? I would not mind. Should I throw in an order here? Do I see it dip to 49? Oh, once again, I haven't done anything yet. Oops, I'm on the wrong side. All right, we're back over here. I wouldn't mind this little breakout. Should I try to snag it? Yeah, we're going to snag this one. Oh. There. All right. Snagged it. All right. How do I want to play this? Well, I was a little early. I was trying to wait for 49. I was watching this EMA, the push back up right here. Obviously risking this recent low. What do we have here? 47. All right. So let's do one at 60. All right. Let's do one at 700. Nice. And then let's do one at 80. And really the goal is by the time it starts to push 66, 67, I move the stop to break even. So I'm trading on these take profits. They're a bit bigger, which is why I sized up from 2 contracts to 3 contracts. The other ones I'm already done with on the day. There's just risk reward. It's just not necessarily worth it for me, in my opinion, to keep trying to trade those where I'm very, very close to getting approved for a payout. So I'd rather just secure those payouts and then move on. So playing with these take profit accounts and just trying to be realistic about certain levels. 60, we'll go to 80, and we'll go to 99. And the goal is lock this one in, and then on the break of, I guess, 66, 67, move the stop to break even. That's the trade plan. Tesla, I'm getting an alert on Tesla. TSLA sending off an alert. Oh, okay. Kind of this little no man's land right here. It just traversed through it right here. So that's a nice break. Really, the next stop from a technical perspective would be up here at, well, I guess there's the psychological level at 450, but the next technical level is 462. For those of you paying attention to Tesla, let me dive in. Let's see if we can see where the big money is positioned at. The big money on Tesla, 455. It needs to get above 455. That's interesting. So for those of you in the short term trading, swing trading, whatever it is, watch 455 on old Tesla. And then after that, we're kind of talking 480, but 455. And then in terms of its flow today, this is specific to Tesla. A lot of bullishness. People are buying calls, and they are a little bit of put selling, but really the puts are flat. But you could see up, and away on that Tesla movement. So bullish. So I'd be intraday. Whoa, what happened? Oh, I locked in one. All right, take this out. Just stick it to my plan over here. Let's keep this easy peasy lemon squeezies. No market tomorrow. That's inaccurate. The market is open tomorrow. Pickle me timbers. Please don't spread information that is wrong. The market is open tomorrow. It is very much open tomorrow. So do not. Banks are closed. The bond market is closed. The stock market is open. The options market is open. The commodities market is open. The crypto market's open. Don't say shit that is inaccurate. It's one of those weird, like, in between holidays where, like, sometimes the market's closed, but this time around it is in fact open. And if you don't believe me, go search the New York Stock Exchange holidays. Just go quickly Google that, NYSE holidays, and you realize that the stock market and the options market and the commodities market is open tomorrow. But yet it is a bank holiday and the bond market's closed. It is really, really strange when we have certain days that like some of the markets are closed, and it's just because of the history of the holiday itself. Did we just get a triple top right here? Well, good thing I locked in one. Let's see if this can hold. Good thing we locked in one. Yeah, we're range bound. We pumped, and we've basically just been range bound in the S&P 500, and we're range bound. Surprise, surprise. Right above 6,800, the bulls are holding that, but the bears are holding basically 12, 15. So we basically stopped moving after the first 10 minutes. 10-minute upward expansion, flat. So no real trend since then. So you're either waiting, if you're a Don-chain trader, like trader, a channel trader, maybe is the more realistic way to say it, you're kind of waiting for the channel to break out or break down. For me, if I were playing the channel breakdown, I would basically be using the math and the reasoning of the downside gap fill. But if I were a trend following trader, I'd only be trading the upside breakout because that's with trend. So just be careful because we popped up, we pulled back, we popped up, we pulled back, we popped up, we pulled back. We just have not broken this trend in one way or the other. The NASDAQ, we did technically get the 30-minute orbital breakout, the SPY. Did it technically happen on the Qs? No. So, okay, that's kind of a weird disparity there. The SPY, the ETF tracking the S&P 500, did get the 30-minute orbital breakout right here back at 1025. SPX, the actual S&P 500, didn't. We made this high at 947, and since then, we have not broken that high or that low. So by definition, we are range bound, folks. We are just kind of waiting. Tesla, watch 450, watch 455. Everything's taking a little bit of a breather right now, but there's still quite a bit of green on the watch list. And the VIX is just holding at 5%. The VIX is just holding at 5%. I was hoping for a little bit more of a trendiness, but remember, we're not going to have trendiness until we're still, see how we are perfectly in positive gamma? That's this purple region. That is positive gamma, and that is just mean reversion. If you go up, look for selling. If you go down, look for buying. That is basically the actions you are expecting when you are stuck in these purple zones. The fun movement, it's fun if you're on the right side of the trend, is when you get into the red zones. That's where you get more of the trend following. So a little bit of, I guess we could remark out some of these highs. We actually just broke that low. Maybe it's a little liquidity sweep, a little bit of a stop breakout there. This 950 low on the SPY, I would love a bounce right off of that. We did make this fresh high there, and the Qs are nowhere close. The Mag 7 flow has still been very strong. I don't see, as of now, the options market movement is not suggesting this is a move to be faded. It is not. So, I mean, it's just too strong. I get prices coming down right now, and I see people are buying those puts. I don't like these days where there's an upside gap fill, a downside gap fill. Mag 7 is looking crazy strong. S&P 500 is actually looking weak. So there's a bit of a disparity, especially when you realize the major thing that moves the S&P 500 is the major thing that moves the NASDAQ. So you might want to wait for a little bit more clarity. On this situation. What is that? I'm looking for a bit of a bounce off of 40. Looking for a little bit of a bounce here. We're right at this 500 tick. Oh, this is the 1 minute. How do I get to the 1 minute? Right here. See, on the 1 minute, we're right now at the 50 EMA. Earlier today, we bounced 954. Earlier today, 1020, we bounced. So let's see if this is another bounce recovery off the 50 EMA or if it's actually going to drag it under and switch it. Obviously, I'm using some super trends and some recent lows as my risk. If it hits it, it hits it. If not, whatever. I traded with trend. I thought it was a good trade. And even if it's 50-50, sometimes that shit happens. I'm happy that I was able to lock in at least one of these. And let's see if we come back. Let's see. Because if we break above 33, 38, do I actually want to add on to this? I might, because this might be just that little fake out right here, just a bounce off of 6,800. Like, we're at a key level. When you're at key levels, you're not going to know if you break or bounce, but think about it mathematically. Even if you have that 50-50 shot, it's how can you handle the skew of your risk to reward. I'm just telling you we're at a key level. Maybe buy or step in here. Maybe that was the target of these puts who were just buying puts right here. You see how the puts are already starting to pop a little bit? They were probably just targeting 6,800. I don't know definitively. I'm just kind of sharing a concept, sharing an idea. But if this starts to pop, if we can like just identify low risk, and it's a big if then statement. If we pop, if there's minimal risk, then can we try to ride it back up to the top of the range or maybe even a breakout? So watching this closely. And the beautiful thing is if you're wrong, your risk is just whatever that recent low is. So it's just the game is minimize your risk and optimize your reward in every single trade. And we not just think this, but we have the data that suggests it. A lot of retail traders inverse that. They take on far too much risk and they go for far too little of reward. I'm not saying that this is the only way to trade. Obviously, you could do negative risk to reward trades where you have a super high hit rate and you're risking a lot and going for a little. But what I find is that people like to conflate the two. They think they're getting into a low risk trade and they size up and it goes against them and they keep sizing up and adding more and more and more. And even though their goal is to make a lot of profit and trend follow, the second it goes a little bit green, they close it out. And hey, I've been there myself. And like, it's just a part of the psychology of trading that whatever it is, first of all, make sure the math of your system is mathing out and make sure it does exactly what you think it does. And then the hard part is being disciplined enough to stick to it. Right. He did mention in order influx of tariffs, investing in the USA, paying down the debt, then a dividend. Oh, you're talking about Trump's True Social thing. Yeah. If the $2,000 checks do go out, and right now even Polymarket and Kalshi are putting it at low odds, I do want to be fair. I don't think anyone should be making life decisions as if that $2,000 check is a guarantee, because you shouldn't. It is not a guarantee. But if those were to start going out, that would be actually kind of crazy. Just thinking about how stimulus checks impacted the market historically back in 2020, 2021. I mean, it led to one of the most insane rip skyrocket cycles of that we've seen in like modern market history. So I wouldn't be surprised, because even if it happens to a degree of that, that's going to be a massive tradable opportunity. But I want to clarify, none of you should be making financial life decisions right now as if that $2,000 is a secured thing. In fact, we are like kind of decently far away from that. I'm about to get clocked. I kind of need this to bounce right now. I put my stop at a place on NQ. How do I want to handle it? Do I want to move it down to 600 and play it off of that? I'm watching to see if buyers step in right here because we're at that key level. Mag 7 is still long and strong, suggesting buyers stepping in. S&P 500 is the downside culprit of the day. And there was another system that just ran. You could see it perfectly. 936 to 945, 10-minute program, selling. What was it specifically doing? It was selling calls and buying a little bit of puts. But you can see what's going on today is not bearishness of like these little dips. It's lack of bullishness. The fact that the market is holding at 6,800 and there's been this much call selling, dropping the delta, kind of blows my mind. And let's just see. This is our first real test. I kind of like this setup, honestly. We'll wait for this to pass, but it's a game of risk reward, folks. If we can break this out, and you're risking this recent low, you're risking 4 points. It's a 4-point risk to a 15-point reward. That's a 4-to-1 like risk to reward setup. You only have to be right on that 1 in 4 times to be break even. And then if it's 1 in 3 times, you're like clearly net ahead. ChatGPT says it's not approved. Well, of course it's not approved. You think a random True Social update means that it's approved for a $2,000 sim? Like that would be gigantically massive news. Is this the same high here? It's off by a penny. I want to know if this breaks out. If it does, I might add to my current NQ position and just risk whatever the recent low is. I'm watching this 801. This is the first major test of the day. I was wishing that the first major test of the day would be 815 and 825, obviously. But in terms of the key levels that we've identified throughout the trading session, and especially in pre-market, this is the first real test. Because we tested minute 2, minute 1, but things are so crazy in there and we easily pumped it. This is the first real test of the day to see what in the world is going on. Are we going to come out of this? It's just look at all that calls, and now people are buying puts. The delta is still getting hit on the S&P 500. Oddly enough, though, not on the Mag 7. Even though the Mag 7 price is taking a hit, people are still buying calls into this. Fascinating. The tech bet is alive and well. They do not care about this price drop at all. Granted, in the grand scheme of how much we've been moving recently, it's really not that big of a move. I feel like especially half of Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, these moves were crazy. So really, it's not that big of a move. But interesting to note that the Mag 7 bulls are not taking the foot off the gas. They are not taking the foot off the gas. All right, we're coming back to a key level on NQ right now at 25,600. Tesla's holding. Palantir is giving a little bit back. NVIDIA is giving a little $1.50 back. AMD's holding. Microsoft gave a bit back. Apple's actually maybe finding a bottom here. Meta's giving, so everything's giving a little bit back from 10:30 till now. So things, it was kind of like a very lethargic 30-minute Orbo breakout to the upside. Technically, the SPY and the Qs did. SPX, if we get real technical, didn't. In fact, at this moment, SPX has not broken its 30-minute Orbo. This range created by the high and the low of the first 30 minutes, we have not broken. We got really, really close. Really, really close. It just no cigar. And there's this downside gap fill all the way here. I was hoping we wouldn't have to contest with that today, but maybe we do. It depends on if we get tilted. So if people are looking for a bounce, you kind of want it to happen soon because we are starting to push that awkward region, the no man's land in between positive gamma and negative gamma. It's around 6,790. It's a little bit south of where we are right now. So if you are holding on to a shorter duration bullish bet, you are very much looking for the bounce to happen sooner rather than later. You do not want this to get tilted into the negative gamma against you, because if it comes undone, it can really come undone. In fact, we might be making a beeline for the SPY. Uh-oh, the Qs cracked that low. The Qs cracked the 950 low, and the SPY is making a move for the intraday low. Oh, there was just not enough gas in the tank to get us to a real breakout test. We tried. It just couldn't take out 815. There was too much call selling. All this call selling, which is still going on. It started at 940. As I alluded to, they were putting a ceiling in on the day. Granted, they did move it up from 815 to 825. But to create that ceiling, that drops the delta. When you drop the delta, that means the market makers start hedging their book to the downside, and look at what happens when you keep creating it. It pushes the delta lower and lower and lower. They push it lower, it ends up cracking price. But clear divergence between the price movement and the delta, and then the fact that the delta kept dropping. Well, now we are seeing whatever alert that just was. Shit. All right, it's coming undone. It's coming undone. Well, that's not... Uh-oh. All right. We are pushing the positive negative zone right now. Let's see if this can hold. We're getting... This is basically the transitional moment. Let's see if it's a bit of an overreaction or if people are legitimately playing for the downside gap fill. If you happen to be playing for the downside gap fill, I do want you to know that it is all the way down to the closing value on Friday, 6728. 6728, the closing value from Friday. That is the downside gap fill. If you're hitting the close, which it's pretty much the actual gap. The gap's at 30, so I don't know. Just call it 6730. On the way there, pay attention to 80. On the way there, pay attention to 50. So it goes 80, 50, 30. But with that, it is right here. We are right in that awkward zone. We're very much in that awkward zone of, will the buyers come in here to keep it into positive gamma? Will the market maker step in to keep it in positive gamma? It's not a negligible task to move it from positive to negative gamma. See right here, we're even seeing a little bit of a bounce. A little bit of a bounce. Will they keep it going though? So the SPY did make a new intraday low, and the Qs have not. The Qs have not. Meta's taken a bit of a hit. Actually, kind of everything is giving up a little bit of these gains. Nvidia's coming a bit undone. Let's see. I don't know what the aggregate's going to decide to do. For the first time in the day, the Mag 7 did start to tilt. You have people dumping those calls. It was call buying all morning. And granted, it's not like we're back at the zero line, but obviously starting at 1048, it is trending a bit down right now. It's trending a bit down. So even the Mag 7 options guys are saying, what in the world is this? I could just tell you from the Gamma map that this is kind of that decision point. If 790, like the longer we hang out in negative Gamma, the more likely it is that we're going to be getting that downside gap fill. However, it's a key level. And at a key level, we're playing the game of either a bounce or a break. 50% chance. Maybe it, I don't know, maybe it comes all the way back up and text this 6,800 level. So I guess this zone is important. I think the way things are shaping up now, this 20-point zone between 6,800 and 6,700, based on the current state of options flow. If you break and recover 800, great, watch 815. If you snap 80, we're probably at that point tilted into the negative gamma, and then you're paying attention to the downside gap fill, which is quite a few points below. Quite a few points below. Let's see. Did you guys see, I see some people talking about Bitcoin, which, I don't know. I think people are getting like overly dramatic. I think right now I see some people screaming about Bitcoin getting tilted. I think you're way too zoomed in. Like, you're seeing this, but it undid a third of the movement. I just, when people are screaming bullish or screaming bearish, I think sometimes you just have to like zoom out a little bit. I mean, I'm literally seeing it in chat that you guys are freaking out from 105 or 106 down to 104. What about this? To me, this just looks like a pullback. And granted, it might switch the momentum, but right now it hasn't. But anyway, on that particular note, are any of you following the story of what's going on with this one trader? James Wynn. Where is it? Is this the right account? There's this one trader that basically like has his, he's betting against the market. He's betting against Bitcoin. And the last thing I saw was he had a 40x leverage. A 40x leverage. And people are wondering if he's going to get liquidated or not. You could even 11 hours ago. You're all wrong, and I mean it. James Wynn, and this is a guy who if you look at his header right here, made $100 million in 70 days trading perps on chain. To clarify though, he lost it all. So did he do that? Yeah, he ran his account up and then lost pretty much every cent of it, and now he's trying to like stage a comeback trade, and he's praying. He is praying that this goes down. I'm all in. I'm going to be completely and utterly honest here. And if this is God's honest truth, I have sold my entire crypto portfolio, excluding long-term Bitcoin spot that I will never sell. And in the past few years, I have deployed all stables 30% and thrown in on top of my short positions. No joke. As all in as I can get, pedal to the metal, money where my mouth is. I'm either going to make hundreds of millions from my leveraged short positions, or I will go bust. I believe it's a 40x short. Yeah, right here. And this is all playing out over the weekend. And where did he say that? I was reading it that if it doesn't hit, he's deleting his account, and he's basically, right here, adding to my shorts here with size, Sunday fake out complete. Now we feast. He's just, and I don't see any, I'm about to get liquidated. So he got clipped a little bit over the weekend and then just recreated a larger position. You're either going down as the worst trader in American history or becoming the next Wolf of Wall Street. Like, it's super degenerate. It's super leverage. He's betting millions of dollars at 40x leverage, and he's praying that this is going to turn. What is this? What is this one? You have no idea where my liquidation price is, brother. The OG $100 million account that gets headlines is a marketing account. I have not deposited it for months and months. I simply take the referral money and use it for marketing. People love to talk on it, make stories on trade, open, closed, profit on a trade, or get liquidated. Understand? Jesus. This is, I wonder what, some people are trying to call out what his liquidation level is, but he's saying people don't know it. This was 7 hours ago. Here comes the dump. This is his target. Wait, what is this one? UK. Oh, this is the UK 100. Sorry, I thought that was Bitcoin. I want to know what his Bitcoin target is. Like, is it an extreme sell-off? Play out exactly as predicted. We're so fucking back. Delusional bulls. Sunday night pump. It's all noise. Well, I'm definitely fascinated. I have no, I'm invested in Bitcoin. I have some of like my long-term Bitcoin. I have no active Bitcoin trade on at the moment. So I have no dog in this fight, but I am always fascinated when people are betting an absurd amount of money with an absurd amount of leverage. And it's seemingly off of vibes. November 8th, that was bullish. Oh, I know. He inverted the chart. All right, I'm bullish. I guess he's targeting 92,000. 92,000. I'm getting alerts of what? Where are we now? Are we going? Is it the downside gap fill? Is that what's playing out? Is it the downside gap fill? It might be. Let's see. We're at 80. Like I said, this is kind of the make or break it moment, because not only is this a key level, just snapping another level of support, but you can see we're pushing that negative gamma, so things can quickly speed up to the downside. So I guess I should have been on this screen while we were watching Win. Let's see. It tried to give it a little bit of a bounce right here, but things are getting goosed. It's getting goose. Where is Bitcoin? I mean, I can see how in the short term you're like, oh, it's down, but if I was 40x leverage short, I would want it to look a little bit more weak than this. It feels like if this recaptures 105.6, that's just a bounce off the 50 EMA, and we could have a whole nother leg higher. It's holding 105 pretty well, so if anything, the equities market looks a bit weaker than the crypto market right now. And like I said, I think it comes down to this 80 level. I am so happy that I got to sidestep all of this and got my degen trades in the morning and locked that in before anything crazy happened. I feel very, very fortunate. I feel very fortunate. In fact, had it been a different timing, I think I would have been like still trying to trade all of this. And yeah, that got faded pretty fucking hard. I think I would have had, if I kept trading today, if like on all the other counts, like if I wasn't doing a payout request, I'm looking at NQ right now, which is trading at 500. I probably would have been looking for something at 640, 650. I probably would have put in a lot of longs there, and I probably would have gotten clipped at 610. So I'd be out 30 points a contract, 600. So I'd be down. I probably would have had 2 contracts. So I probably would have been down 1,200. I don't know how the other trades would have gone. Maybe I would have taken it at 940 or something like that. But feels like if today was normal as goes and I wasn't just trying to lock in, I think this drop would have really hurt me. Granted, we could easily just bounce out of this and start ripping again, but you need the recovery here. If this is another dead cat bounce, like we just saw 952 to 955, if it's a puke, a bounce, and like a vomit, you're watching 50. And at that point, the downside gap fill seems very, very realistic, which is why we're probably stalling out here. What's the flow look like? All right, so Mag 7 did pump, pulled back, little bit of an upward swing, but mainly flat right now. And then if you're looking at the SPY, it could be a double bottom here. It was just so much call selling. And actually the call selling, enough call selling happened that it turned into put buying, and that really dropped the delta. But let's see, maybe the put buyers, call selling, they might buy it back to lock in their money. Tough call here. We just have to watch the flow. But all day on the S&P 500, the real inkling to know that it wasn't quite time to be degenerately long was because you were fighting the flow. Ever since 940, the S&P 500 flow was starting to push to the downside, so you were going against it. I get it that price momentum and price action were going up, but the options market was giving us that signal that underneath it was in fact not doing it. And hey, maybe that changes. Obviously, the delta could start picking up at any moment, but right here just got hit, went flat as price was going flat. And then this flow alert at 10:32, and then 4 minutes later, it just kind of came undone on us. It kind of came undone. Yeah, we're cracking the 80 here. Oh, how do I want to handle my shit? Oh, how do I want to handle this? How do I want to handle this? How do I want to handle my own? Because I still have calls, but if I think we're going for the downside gap fill, maybe I just sidestep it now and get the fuck out. And just wait for the gaps to fill and then move on with my life. It's way easier to be long when you don't have downside gap fills. It's way easier to be long. Speaking of that, there's a downside gap fill. For those of you who need to know the levels, there is a downside gap fill on the SPY all the way to 671. On the Qs, it's to 609. On the Qs, there's also an upside gap fill, just so you know, to 629. So we're awkwardly in the middle. There's a 10-point upside gap fill and a 10-point downside gap fill, and we're in the middle. Are we tilting? How much into negative gamma are we? So that got hit. That still looks kind of fucked up. I might be getting out of my calls because I need more time anyway since it's a new week. I might. How do I want to do it? I could buy VIX calls as protection. Oh, what to do. Tesla's holding on. What to do? What in the world? It's still, it's trying to hold it. It puked right to it, danced around, little flush. I'm giving it a second here, but being mindful of the downside gap fill, it might be the day just to cover my bullish positions, go flat, wait for the downside gap fill, and recreate a bullish position there. I'm going to give this a second to see if it bounces. It actually does get interesting if we recapture 90, this high at 55. That becomes a bit interesting. Hang on, let me switch up. All right, we're back at 80. Either the market makers or the bulls are trying to defend this positive to negative move. Right in that awkward transition is where buyers stepped in. Right in the awkward transition. You could probably maybe see it a little better here. See how you have these like dark mixed zones? Like this is clearly bullish. Oh, brother. I can't believe this guy made so much money, lost it all, and then he's just putting it down on this bet now just to see what happens. We'll see. I don't think he's right, but maybe he just knows something I don't know. What is this one? If this ain't the top signal for Bitcoin, then I don't know what is. What is it?
I think we fucking made it. What do you reckon? We're getting there.
Are these just Bitcoin bros
No.
who quote unquote made it? from selling like crypto signals. James Wynn was liquidated 12 times in 12 hours, and yet he's still shorting Bitcoin. I'm all in. Dude, he has to be just getting destroyed. 1 hour ago, millions worth of OTM puts, unusual. Remember this type of stuff, it doesn't tell you the net change, which is important, but also I want to point out the date. A little bit of November, quite a bit of December. I think the date's important, but those types of posts, they're not inaccurate, but they are misleading. Yeah, this happened to me too. Good morning, unable to approve my 28K payout, time to build more buffer, unable to approve. That is exactly what happened to me. You don't lose your accounts. They just force you to trade at minimum another 8 days without violating any of their rules. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. We're back to 8. It's trying to protect the 80s. All right. If you are degenerately watching every minute chart, I would say look for either the recovery of 89 or the breakdown of 72. And this happens to be fluctuating, gyrating, if you will, right between positive and negative gamma. So please pay close attention to all of that. Please, 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 please. But folks, hey, Matt, don't you think stocks are overdue for a correction? Doesn't matter. That's not like a tradable thing. Stocks can be overdue for a correction for maybe a day, but also maybe months or maybe multiple quarters. That's not like the opinion on if something's overbought or oversold is more of a fundamental breakdown. And you think at some point it'll come back to equilibrium. That has nothing to do with what are you trading today, this week, or this month. Those are like two distinct things. That's a fundamental call out rather than a like tradable call out. It's very, very easy to conflate investing analysis and terms and thoughts and procedures with trading and all the stuff on the trading things. That's really easy to do, but you should be doing everything in your power to not do that. There can be a large incongruent setup between what things should be trading at and what they should be invested at, and that happens all of the time. It just doesn't matter. Or I should say, if you're using that for if you're using investment things for your trading, or if you're using trading things for your investing, you're going to get into a lot of trouble, because that disconnect can last for a really, really long time. Trump calls on air traffic controllers to return to work, recommends a $10,000 bonus for those who work through the shutdown. Wow. We'll see if that plays out. But right now, the bounce, it is happening right off that transition, which is why everyone should be paying attention to this stuff. Because look at, is it anyone's surprise of where we bounced right there at 80? Like, it's the exact level that was called out before the market even opened today. This is why you pay attention to the key levels. The key levels do not tell you breakout or breakdown. They scream to you of watch here, because you might get an outsized reaction. And if you can get in with minimal risk, well, that outsized reaction might be a huge reward to you. And if you're wrong, because remember, half the time you're probably going to be wrong, it's only a small little paper cut. So the math of it looks good at those levels. Actually, Tesla's looking pretty good. Well, here's to hoping today that this is the bottom of the day. If not, we tilt into the negative gamma and we're going for that downside gap fill. We are below VWAP. That's a bit interesting. We'll see how this one plays out. Yeah, it's battling. Like I'm saying, either you're pushing above and holding above 90, and then from there 800, or this is just a lower high. We slice through 80, we vomit through 72, and at that point, looking for the downside gap fill. Those are the two pathways, and I would say take advantage of whatever pathway you think is right, especially if you can get into it with minimal risk. That is how you survive the game. And a little bit of a pro tip here is I would very much be watching the options flow. This makes me actually, oddly enough, favor the bulls just because the Mag 7 Delta is at the highest and the S&P 500 is finally showing the first actual bounce of the day. But who knows? It could just be a dead cat bounce. Folks, that's what I have for you. I actually have a lot to do just because I got back from the Dominican Republic yesterday. Very cool trip. Thanks for all of you who asked how it went, how it was going, dude. A lot of cool people, a lot of cool history, a lot of cool beaches, a lot of cool hikes. So had a great time. Just from friends from college lived there. So hanging out with those guys just for a long weekend. Beautiful country, beautiful time. Happy to be back though. From here on out, it's pretty much the normal schedule with all of you folks. Granted, I know we have some holidays, but in terms of the normal market, I'm going to be here with you. So barring any crazy events, expect normality out of me, excluding holidays, which I guess I don't think any of us are going to be here. But for right now, I don't think I have another thing planned until January. So we should have a pretty good run here, folks. Yeah, happy to be back. For those of you who missed the Rumble interview, we'll be posting that later today. We'll be posting an update video today. We'll be streaming once again 9 a.m. bright and early. If you haven't signed up for Public, if you're watching this right now and you haven't at least downloaded Public, at least do that. It is free to download. It is free to sign up. It is free for you to check out. And I think when you get into that process of it, you're going to realize that it's absolutely awesome. And remember, you're allowed to have multiple brokerages. So if you're thinking, how am I going to be spread across? Is that allowed? Yeah, you can have multiple. But the more you get into it, I think you're going to break in my way and realize that no, you just kind of really mainly want to be on Public because it is that good. We have an update video coming out today related to Apex on the secondary channel, explaining why my payout got denied. I requested $30,000, 15 accounts, $2K each, $30,000. It was all denied, but this was by no means a surprise. So I broke that down. But more importantly, in the video coming out either at noon or 1 p.m. today, East Coast time, I broke down the new trading strategy that I'm using, or at least a new trading strategy that I've noticed that I think will help a lot of you who are currently battling out on SIMDA-funded trades or firms or whatever the hell you want to call it, prop shops. So that is going to come up there, and I think it's going to be very, very helpful for people who are trying to get to that first payout level. So be on the lookout for that. Interview today, update video today, 9 a.m. stream tomorrow. Government shutdown might be ending soon. Pay attention to that. I showed you all the key levels, and I guess if you have any other questions or things that I might be forgetting, well, that's exactly what the Discord's for. So I'm going to go hang out with the Goonies in the Goonie Trading Discord. Hope to see you there. Have a good one. Hope you crushed it today. Thanks for all the good vibes. Peace.